we are live. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. If you don't know who I am, I'm going to cover in this video. Grab some popcorn and get ready. Thank you very much for tuning into my very first video. So my name is Shane Story. I am an online coach, personal trainer from Dublin, and I am also a powerlifter and simply bodybuilder. So I'm pretty average at the old powerlifting. Pretty average, but you know, I'm trying my best, and now I am going to be trying to become a very average bodybuilder too. So the reason I'm starting up this YouTube channel basically is, well, I suppose probably want to do it in some respect for a long time, put it on the back burner like most people put things on the back burner. You know, you're a little bit kind of afraid to dip your toes into the water, you know, afraid to put yourself out there, but look, it's good to kind of do these kind of things, get outside our comfort zone. I am going to be starting a bodybuilding prep in 3 weeks time, about 3 weeks time from when you are watching this video, or 3 weeks from today at least, which is something I've never done before. So my background, essentially, I have been training like a bodybuilder, powerlifter for the last, I'm gonna say 6 or 7 years. So I'm 28 now, so yeah, definitely for like the last 8 years actually, I've been pretty much training very consistently. And bodybuilding was always one of those things that, you know, I would have liked to have done. However, I am natural, as I'm sure I'll repeat many times to you, which you'll probably get sick of. But I'm natural, so you know, natural changes do take a long time. And I think I'm at a point where I think physically I'm ready enough to get up onto a bodybuilding stage and actually do okay. Right, because that's a big thing, right? I don't want to get on stage and be there to show up. I want to be there to compete. That's similar to powerlifting, right? So I have been powerlifting for like the last 3 years. I compete under Abs Powerlifting here based in Finglas. And you know, when I started out, obviously I wasn't very competitive. To be honest, even now I am. I'd be competitive in the right competitions. I'd say that, but I'm going to be competing in the national championships in next week. So that's going to be the biggest competition that I've done. It's invite only. You have to have a certain qualifying total to get it. Well, previous years you did, not necessarily this year, but that's for another day. But I'm going to be doing that competition in a week and a half, so I want to kind of detail my essentially next week and a half leading into that competition. So tomorrow I am going to be filming some kind of full day of eating for you to see where I'm at now. And this is going to be kind of important, like in a sense, because my actual eating pattern is going to change pretty drastically over like the next 3 weeks, because now I am in a maintenance phase. You know, I'm not necessarily looking to kind of gain muscle, or I'm not necessarily, well, I'm obviously looking to gain muscle in some respect, but my calories aren't dictated towards that way. But I am going to, my calories are not in a position where I'm losing weight at the moment or I'm really gaining. I'm just trying to kind of keep my weight stable because I'm going to be competing in the 93 kilo class. So I want to keep it in and around like 93 and 94.1 this morning. So you know, I don't want to go too far away from that. It's going to make my weight cut a little bit harder, and the weight cut is something I'm going to cover in another video. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to go through my actual full day of eating for how I'm eating at the moment. It's 3,800 calories, and yeah, I'm going to go through the why I eat what I eat, the way I eat, and how I kind of arrived at that way of eating, because it's not something that I have always done. My way of eating has changed drastically over like the last 8 years. As I mentioned, you know, even before those 8 years started, I would have been training in some respect, but diet would not have been something that was on my mind. I knew that I had to eat protein, but I wouldn't have been really kind of paying too much attention to it, you know. But you know, since the last 8 years, my diet has definitely changed a lot. I went from plain chicken and rice to IFYM to what I do now, which is, I wouldn't even really put a name on it. I suppose it is flexible diet in a sense, but you know what, my nutrition is geared towards me performing and me feeling my best. And you know, that is maybe something that I'm probably going to reiterate time and time again on this channel, because I think it is really important, especially as you get further into the process and you know, you're looking to kind of eke out those last few percent of gains. It is very important that you are quite diligent with things like nutrition, with recovery, with your trainings. You are paying attention to the small things and making sure you're absolutely nailing the fundamentals. So yeah, that's essentially what this channel is going to try to be. I am going to be very heavy on trying to educate the people who do follow me, because education is something that is very important to me. There is a lot of very bad information out there, and there's a lot of very good information out there, and I want to be part of the very good, obviously. You know, I want to make sure I'm steering people in the right direction because it's important to me. You know, when I started out, there wasn't as much information as there definitely is now. You can go anywhere and find really good information. However, there's also that extra bit of bad information, and I think having extra voices, no matter how saturated this kind of market gets, or you know, PT industry, online coaching, you know, YouTubers, you know, we could always do more voices out there who are spreading positive information and correct information. So I want to touch on a little bit about my background coming into lifting, or coming into even coaching. I have been involved in sports in one way or another since I was about 5 or 6. I started off playing soccer, like most little boys that probably wanted to play for Arsenal, because that's who was supported back then. And like, you know, started soccer, played Gaelic. I was phenomenal at badminton. Well, not phenomenal, but like, you know, I was meet champion, represent. So like, yeah, I was very much involved in sports. Went into secondary school, played everything, like literally as on most sports teams. Soccer, at one point I was pretty shit at it though. Gaelic, tennis, also shit. Badminton, I was okay at that. Then like rugby, basketball, and rugby and Gaelic were the two big ones when I was growing up. Okay, so they would have been my two kind of focal sports, and obviously there is a good deal of physicality to them. So like I played midfield when I played Gaelic. I played flanker when I played rugby, so I played 6 specifically, or that was at least my preferred position. Sometimes I got shoved over to 7, which, I mean, it's not the funnest compared to 6, where you just get to smash people all day. Being physical is a big part of that, right? So like, obviously in your mind you're like, well, should I not be stronger? And then you learn that, like, you know, you can do things like push-ups, and push-ups will help you put on some muscle mass. So that's kind of what I did. Like, pretty much once I was about 15, I'd say, I routinely every single night I'd do push-ups on my bathroom floor. I just do as many sets as I could until I couldn't do any more. Push-ups and sit-ups, and that's what I did. My parents thought it was fucking bonkers, because like every single night for, it must have been like a year and a half, I would do that. And to be fair, I actually got in pretty decent shape doing it, as you would, because I was pushing myself to failure like repeatedly, consistently. And in school, like I'm very privileged. I went to a very good school. We got fed at school, and the food was, I think it was for the most part decent. It doesn't get a good rap, but I thought it was okay. But like, you know, you're getting high protein meals, you're getting lots of calories in, you're staying very active, so staying pretty lean as a kid, and you're also kind of putting on some muscle mass, like, you know, win-win. However, once I got access to the school gym in 4th year, that was a game changer, right? I was very, very into kind of going in there pretty much most days. Didn't have a fucking clue what I was doing, of course, but I'd go in there, I'd do all the machines, I'd max out and everything like that, because I mean, that's what you do as a kid, isn't it? And I'm sure people do that still. Going into gyms, their first exposure, to get in, just go hammer a machine. I mean, it's not a terrible way to go about it, okay? Obviously it's not the best way for long-term progress, but you know, you're gonna get a workout, aren't you? And then when I was in about 5th year, there was a guy who worked in the school who, you know, he was big into the gym himself. He wasn't a teacher, but he was kind of like a caretaker, okay? He was big into the gym, and like, he's seen that there was a group of us who were going into the gym, and you know, we were fucking pumping iron. And he was like, here guys, like, you know, this is something I was big into when I was younger. How about I show you a few workouts, or I bring you through some workouts? And he did bring us through some workouts, and that was when, like, thankfully in 5th year, at the tender age of 17, I learned properly how to train, because he absolutely crippled us through a few just different bro sessions, like, you know, chest and tries, back and buys, you know, doing a leg session, and it was very, 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 very valuable. And then from then on, just progressively got more interested in training. Went to college, started drinking, still was training a little bit in the background, but you know, I was way more invested in the party side then. When I was in college, I was mad for the session. Like, I mean, like most people are in Ireland when they go to college, they are going to be pretty much flat out with the drink and the rest, you know. And I was into DJing, so I started doing DJing. And you know, naturally enough, you know, if you're doing DJing and you're staying up late nights multiple times a week, you know, your physique starts to deteriorate, and I wasn't training as much. And it wasn't really much of an issue then, but I came to a point in my kind of life where I did have to pick between the gym and I had to pick between DJing, because I was starting to get a bit more kind of into DJing, but I was also getting more into training again. I was finding good information. I was finding like the likes of Rob Lipset, and I was finding like the Sigma Nutrition at the time, and like, you know, they were putting out really good information that was, you know, pretty much like novel to me. And I was starting to see really good results in my physique again, because like during college it deteriorated a lot. I was drinking heavily, my nutrition was shocking, wasn't sleeping like right at all. And then when I started kind of getting more involved in both of those scenes, I did have to make a decision. And one of those decisions was made for me when I went away on an Erasmus year. So I spent a year living in Sevilla, and in that actual kind of year, kind of realized that like I was studying business at the time. I was studying business and Spanish, and I realized that I was not going to class. You know, I was not going to really any classes. So sorry, ma'am, if you're watching this, which you probably are. But I wasn't really going to many classes when I was over there. But all I was doing was like reading like fitness articles. I was reading like Ryan McDonald's, like, you know, I was reading like Muscle and Strength Pyramids by Eric Helms, and I was just like absorbing all this information. I was applying it, and like, you know, continued to start to see my like physique change rapidly. Started to get really strong, well, strong for the time, and you know, then that kind of changed the whole trajectory of the way that my kind of life took then from like 24. So once I finished that Erasmus year, you know, finished off my college degree, and once that was finished, I got myself into a PT course, and the kind of rest is history. Like, you know, I did my PT course in NCT in town, and then once that was finished, I pretty much got myself into a commercial gym, worked there for a few years, and it was like a big box gym, FlyFit. Like, I'm gonna drop their name there if you want to sponsor me. But you know, worked there, and working there was phenomenal. Like, you know, if there's anybody who's watching this who's maybe starting out or they want to get into a gym, I would definitely recommend getting into a chain gym. Like, I didn't want to work there. I wanted to work in a smaller gym. Felt like I'd just be another clog in a machine, and that's similar to why I suppose I didn't want to go into anything using my business degree. I felt like I wanted to make a difference, so I wanted to help an individual as opposed to help a faceless corporation, you know. However, working in somewhere like FlyFit really did help, because I got to work with a huge variety of people. You know, I got to work with people who are older, people who are younger, people of different ethnic backgrounds. You know, I got to teach different classes, learn new skills, practice my public speaking skills, and you know, I got to work with other trainers, work with other like-minded people, and it gave me a huge amount of time to actually kind of upskill too, because you know, I was learning every day in the job. I got to continually, like, lots of times to spend on my education, and then obviously when the time was right, I got involved in online coaching and kind of progressing an online business, you know. So that's kind of how that trajectory took off. And all the while, like, you know, training was always happening in the background. There hasn't been like much period apart from like those early days in college where training wasn't there, but over the last 3 years, as I mentioned, got very involved in powerlifting, and that has pretty much been my primary focus. Starting out back in 2019, and now it's 2022, so I'm still there, but you know, my kind of trajectory over the next few months is going to change, because I am going to be doing a bodybuilding show. Now that's kind of one of the reasons why this channel is going to be here, okay, because I know there's not a huge amount of people in Ireland who do powerlifting or do natural bodybuilding or that document it. However, I do want to show the kind of transition and the fact that it is kind of possible. I mean, there is plenty of people who do the two at the same time. Now obviously throughout the prep you will see there's going to be changes to my training, and then obviously when the time comes I will let you know who my next coach is going to be. So at the moment I do have the Vidas Dorisas, who is coaching me from abs, and then I've got Brian Hankista doing my nutrition. So I've got two coaches at the moment. So something that's very important to me is to have, you know, mentors like I mentor my clients. So yeah, pretty much that brings us up to speed to where I'm at now. So yeah, hopefully you will get to see me smash some PBs in the next week or two. Yeah, from there we can kind of take from there. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to delivering some decent content to you, or hopefully decent content, hopefully entertaining content, over the next while. And yeah, thank you very much for watching so far. Next video is going to be full day of eating, so yeah, get ready to see me smash some calories. Alright, peace out.